Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Healing Elevated, a podcast by Elevate and Empower. I am your host, Michelle Walter. I am a widow. I'm an author. I am a certified grief coach, and I am the media's go-to expert when it comes to midlife women's wellness and grief support. So welcome to this episode. Today, I want to talk to you about the things that no one tells you about early grief. There's a few of those things that I had to learn on my own when I was navigating my own devastating loss. Brief introduction for those of you who are just listening to the podcast. I lost my husband during the pandemic, and one of the things they don't tell you about grief is the shock factor. The way that losing my husband completely dropped a bomb in what I considered a pretty good life, pretty perfect life. And it's numbing, and it's devastating, and it's more than just sadness and tears. And so the shock factor is the first thing I want to talk to you about. That one of the things that you're just not prepared for in early grief. It's not only numbing, it's not only devastating, but it's surreal. It's almost like having an out-of-body experience in your early grief. Like, what is happening? That kind of feeling. So that's the first thing. Second thing I want to talk about is the physical impact of grief. Grief can show up as brain fog. And if you're like me, a menopausal woman, brain fog is already a symptom. It's already a part of my daily life. So to add grief onto that sucks. It can manifest as fatigue, no motivation, not wanting to get out of bed or even shower. It can show up in unexplained, never felt before aches and pains in your body. And one of those ways it showed up for me is sleep changes. So my sleep was so messed up after my husband died. I would take 2, 3, 4-hour naps. I use air quotes, naps during the day, and then be up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning watching TV, watching something on the computer, doing something, but I would be wide awake and the hours were just completely off. So sleep changes are a big part of the early stages of grief. Another thing that they don't talk about is that pressure to be strong or to move on. And I want to explain to you why it's okay to resist the pressure of this, because people who are encouraging you to be strong and move on are people who have not experienced what you are going through. Your grief is your own. It is your journey, and nobody has the right to tell you how quickly to move through it, how quickly to get over it, which you never get over grief, how quickly to move forward. It's your journey. It's your loss, and nobody quite understands the impact of your loss like you. So nobody should have a right to tell you how to grieve it. But the next thing is the loneliness. You ever get that feeling of feeling completely alone, yet you're in a crowded room? That's happened to me so many times in my grief. Or you're among well-meaning friends who say things like, he's in a better place. Time heals all wounds. Grief can be a very lonely place because very rarely do people actually get it. Very rarely do people actually understand what it is that you are going through. Unless, like me, they've gone through it themselves. So feeling alone in a crowded room is completely normal, and it is a part of grief. This one always gets me, this next one. The awkwardness and the discomfort that others feel around your grief and how it shows up. So think about that for a minute. This is about how others feel about or around your grief. Now, the grief coach in me would say to you that other people's awkwardness and discomfort around your grief is not your problem. Don't put it on your shoulders. It's not your problem. It's more about them than it is about you and your grief. I can say that as the grief coach. However, I know that you perhaps are not as far along or far evolved in your grief journey. And perhaps you have not set the boundaries that need to be set in order for you to be able to articulate these things to people, or even process it for yourself, to have that kind of assurance that their discomfort is not your problem. So for you who are just navigating the early stages of grief, I'm going to say it to you, it's not your problem. However, I'm going to give you a few hints on how it does show up. You can have friends who just don't know what to say. So the awkwardness, and they're going to spew cliches and things that they think maybe you want to hear, but that are not necessarily helpful. Or they're going to be judgmental in the way you choose to grieve your loss. Or this one I experienced myself, they're going to ghost you. They just won't show up. They just won't be there. All of a sudden, they just will not be there. And I myself have suffered many secondary losses as a result of losing my husband. So it's a part of grief. Another part of grief that nobody tells us about. So don't be taking up the awkwardness of your friends, family, on top of your grief. You have enough to deal with. The unpredictability of triggers. Let's talk about that for a minute. I created some guided meditations, and they are available at my website, elevateandempowerinc.com. And there's one particular one that is surrounding triggers and the grief waves when they come. And the guided meditation is called When the Grief Waves Come. And it's for those times when you're in the supermarket and all of a sudden something triggers a thought or a memory of your loved one and you fall apart in the grocery store. It's for my own personal experience, those times when you get triggered by a song. Days after my husband passed away, I tried to outrun my grief and I took a trip to Vancouver, jumped on a flight to Vancouver. And side note, I'd just like to declare that outrunning your grief doesn't work. Impossible. Didn't work for me either. But I tried it. I didn't know then. I know now, so I'm trying to save you the time, the effort, and the expenses going somewhere on a flight and a hotel to try and outrun your grief. It doesn't work. You cannot outrun it. However, when I was trying to outrun mine, I was at a hotel in Vancouver and I'm at a breakfast place in the restaurant, about to have some breakfast, ordered some breakfast, sitting there by myself. My first trigger was the empty chair across from me, because I'm used to being a wife, a part of a couple. Anywhere we go together. It's him across from me always. Table for two, please. That was the norm for me. So the first trigger was the empty chair across from me. Now I'm a table for one kind of person and have to get used to dining alone. Then after I order my breakfast over the loudspeaker, here goes my wedding song. Well, let me tell you, I didn't have guided meditations to help me through, or the tools that I do have now and that I share with my community and my clients to get through these waves. I fell apart in the middle of the restaurant right before my breakfast came. So that's how I coped with it. Not only did I fail in outrunning my grief, I fell apart in the middle of the restaurant when I heard my wedding song. So triggers could be a song, could be a scent, could be a season, could be somebody walking down the street with the same kind of gait and swagger that your spouse had. It could be anything. Triggers are everywhere. For me, again, my husband was on a ventilator for months before he passed. And I love two things on TV: medical shows and cop shows. Love them. Law, cop, medicine, anything like that. So every day I'm watching TV and somebody's on a ventilator. And it used to be an awful trigger for me, that sound of the that a ventilator makes. It was such an awful trigger for me for some time. However, now it's a trigger, but it's a mini trigger, and I have the tools to deal with it now. So it doesn't affect me in the same way. So again, I want to invite you to visit my website and check out the guided meditations that I have there, because they are very helpful. And I really wish that I had them when I was in my early stages of grief. All right, the next thing they don't tell you about is the guilt that you feel in your grief. The guilt about having moments of laughter or forgetting, even briefly, the person that you've lost. I used to wake up in the morning the first month or so after my loss, and I would wake up in the morning, and for the first 5 to 10 seconds, I would get up and kind of stretch in the bed, not get up, but still be in the bed, wake up, kind of stretch. And then for about 5 to 10 seconds, I would forget that he was dead. And it was when I sat up now to get up out of the bed and start my day, I look around and realize my awareness is brought back to the room, and I realize, you're here by yourself. You're alone. It wasn't a nightmare. He is actually gone. So, brief moments of forgetting. These are all parts of grief. And if you use your emotional brain, then you're going to feel guilt over feeling happy, because when you find yourself laughing or stealing little moments of joy, you might say to yourself, shit, I'm not supposed to be feeling happy. I just lost my spouse, but it's okay. I'm here to tell you that it's okay. It's okay, and if you use your emotional brain, you will feel this way. But if you use your logical side of your brain, you'll realize that guilt is not justified when you steal little pieces of joy, when you find times of laughter, when you forget for 5 seconds that the person is gone. Guilt it's not justified in this case. And so I just want to kind of reiterate that with you, that guilt, it's not justified. And if you use your logical brain, then you will understand that it is not justified. The myth of stages. You know how they say that there's 5 stages of grief, and we start in anger and denial, and you go through them in a nice linear fashion, and at the end you're great. Well, I'm here to tell you that I've got both sides of experience. I've got a diploma right in front of me on my wall, psychology diploma. So I know what the textbook tells you about grief and the stages of grief. But on the flip side, I lost my husband to COVID in 2021. So I know that side of grief and the grief journey and actually going through it. And I am here to tell you that as many stages as they may or may not be in grief, you do not go through them in any linear, nice, neat, packaged order. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't. Today you might feel anger. Tomorrow you're in denial. The following day you're angry again. Then you're in a depression. Then you might come to some sort of acceptance, right? For that day. But then tomorrow you're pissed off again. So there is no linear way that grief works. It's not a straight line. It's very much ups and downs and waves. You might have a great day today, and you get up and you live your life and you do your thing and you take care of the kids and the dog and the job and the house, and you do all of the things, and you sit on the couch at the end of the day to watch the late show and you say, yeah, I did that thing. And today was a good day. But tomorrow you might be in the middle of a good day. And again, there's a trigger, a song, a scent, a sound, a season, a person, some sort of trigger, a memory that just brings you to your knees. So the myth of stages of grief is just that. It is a myth. There are stages, but they're not linear. Nobody goes through the stages in the same order. And there is no right or wrong way to go through the stages of grief along your own personal journey. So I just want to state that out loud for you all to hear. Identity crisis. That's a big one. That's one that I suffered with. Identity crisis. The fact that you are questioning, who am I now without him, is 100% normal. It is a natural, normal part of grief, because the shift in identity that you are experiencing, the shift in roles that you're experiencing sucks. I don't know a better word to describe it. It sucks. It's hard. It's no fun. When you're used to, for however many years, 2, 5, 7, 20, you're used to, for however many years, referring to yourself as the missus, as the wife, as a we, as a part of a couple. And now you have to identify yourself as suddenly as the widow or as the single parent, when that's not what you've been used to for years. So the identity crisis is real in grief, and questioning who I am now is normal. And to that I say, the time will come when you are ready to reintroduce yourself to yourself along this journey. But I'm here to tell you that there is no rush. There is no quick fix, and it will happen in your time, in your timing, when you're ready. And it's all about you. The next one I want to talk to you about is the invisible labor of grief. And by this, I mean the paperwork, the logistics, the daily survival of grief, the admin. I'm going to use air quotes again. The admin part of grief. I didn't know that I needed a copy of my husband's death certificate to do just about anything. To put a car in my name, to claim money in an account, to transfer the utilities from his name to mine. Like, there is so much administration that comes along with grief that they don't tell you about. There's government services out there and resources out there for survivors benefits. There are so many options and so many things that you need to know. So, and nobody tells you about that. You just think that the person dies and you have a funeral and people say, if you need me, call me. If you need anything, call me. And that's the end of that. But there's so much administrative aspects to grief that nobody tells you about. Nobody talks to you about it. And I'm even thinking about putting together a brief guide, your first steps through grief. What are the things that you need to know? And this would be a big part of it, finances and administrative parts of grief. So these are things that they don't tell you about. And I had to find out by trial and error. And that is why I do what I do in the Elevation Hub. It's why I do what I do in the Wellness Travel Circle, because I want to smooth out the bumps in the roads that I had to bump myself over and trial and error. My goal is to smooth those bumps for you. Longing for your old self. That's a part of grief as well. You're going to long for your old self and the slow process of rediscovering who you are now or who you're becoming. I have a mini course called Rediscovering Your Voice, and this is a 2-week online program that is geared towards just that, rediscovering yourself and rediscovering your voice. So if this is something that resonates with you or you'd like to explore further, you can pop on over to my website, elevateandempowerinc.com, and you can join that program because it's a really good resource to have, and it helps you to rediscover who you are and reintroduce yourself to yourself. Let's talk about those little kindnesses that help. But first, I want to talk about the well-intentioned advice that doesn't. So again, those platitudes, they're in a better place. Time heals all wounds. These do not help. And the one that is my pet peeve in grief is when people say to you, especially at the funeral, if you need anything, call me. I know it's well-intended, but it doesn't help if you don't follow through. So if you say, if you need anything, call me, your job as the person who's not in the midst of grief, or you might be in the midst of grief because you might be grieving the person too, but you're not in the midst of grief and to the same degree that the widow or the spouse is. So your job is to continue to follow up. If you really mean what you said, if you need anything, call me, or if you need anything, let me know, then you should let them know that you're there. Call every day, text every day. Even if you don't get a reply or a response, do it every day. Because I say this over and over. The person who is in the midst of grief will know that you are their go-to when they feel strong enough to ask for support, because you've proven and you've followed up. You didn't just say the cliche, call me if you need me, and then crickets, which I experienced so much of during my grief, especially I had a celebration of life for my husband exactly 1 year from the day of his passing. And there was about 50 people at this celebration of life, anywhere from 40 to 50 people. And 90% of them said that if you need anything, Michelle, you call me. You need anything, Michelle, you let me know. And out of those people who made that declaration to me, there was a handful of them who followed through. There was a handful of them that I could actually call them if I needed something. The rest of them, crickets. And that part of grief really sucks because they all rally around during the funeral and the celebration of life. And then life goes on. The world keeps moving. Life goes on, but your world is still at a standstill. So that's another crappy part of grief. Now let's talk about the little kindnesses. I just did. One of them is following through and calling and texting all the time. But you could do little things like, I had friends offer to walk my dog when I didn't feel like getting out there. That was great. I had friends offer to drop groceries off for me. I gave them text them a list and they would drop groceries off for me. So those little kindnesses, come and take me out of the house. If you know that I'm isolating in my grief at home, come and get me and say, hey, let's go to Tim Hortons, because I'm here in Canada. Let's go to Tim Hortons, or let's go to Starbucks, or let's go for a walk, a hike. Let's go to the mall. Let's go for a drive. Let's go sit in the park. Something. Pull them out of their isolation. That's how you could be a helpful friend and an aid in their journey. Just a little tip from your fellow griever. It's the importance of finding safe spaces, community, therapy, or just simply one person that you truly trust. Because isolation will amplify negative grief emotions. I'm going to repeat that. Isolation will only amplify your negative grief emotions. So do not isolate yourself. I know the instinct to do it because I did it too. So I know the instinct to isolate. I know it. Trust me, I know the instinct. And I just want to encourage you to fight that instinct with everything left in you. Because once you can get over that isolation hump and start to ask for help, seek resources and support that is out there for you, including myself and the Elevation Hub community, you will find it's like the whole world opens up for you. It's like it stopped spinning when you suffered the loss, and now it starts spinning again for you. That's what it's like. So I encourage you to reach out. And if you want to reach out to me, I am a click away. Permission to set boundaries. This is something I love. And this is something that I, over the years, have become an expert at. I will set a boundary before you can say lickety split. I'm telling you, I am an expert boundary setter, and I wasn't always this way. I was a people pleaser. I always wanted to make others feel comfortable, minimize everybody else's discomfort while amplifying my own. So I was a people pleaser, not anymore. You need to be able to set boundaries with people, especially people who don't understand what it is you're feeling or what it is you're navigating in your grief. You have to feel confident in setting these boundaries. And boundary setting is like a muscle. If you go to the gym and you work out the bicep, work it out, it's going to get bigger and bigger and stronger because you're working it out. So just like resilience is a muscle, setting boundaries is also a muscle that you have to continue to build. And so you can start small. I'm not sure. It depends on what's happening in your life, but start small by setting a small boundary. Say no when you want to say no. Stop saying yes when you want to say no. Don't go to that event if you don't feel like it. Don't go to be a part of that group if it's no longer serving you. Set boundaries. Protect your peace. Protecting your peace during your grief journey is essential to your healing. So protect your peace. The hope that over time, moments of peace and meaning will return, even if it's not today. It will return. So I want you to go through your grief journey slowly, at your own pace, in your own time, because it's your journey and no one has the right to tell you how to grieve your loss. It's your loss. And I am living, breathing proof that you can suffer a devastating loss and turn your pain into something beautiful. I am living, breathing proof that grief doesn't have to end you because it didn't end me. So just look at me as an example. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening to this episode of Healing Elevated, a podcast by Elevate and Empower. I am your host, Michelle Walter. If you would like to connect with me further, or you would like some more wellness and or grief support resources, I encourage you to pop over to my website, elevateandempowerinc.com, where you'll find all the links to all the resources that you need. Also, I have created the Wellness Travel Circle app, and this is a wellness travel community, and we travel together and heal through travel. Healing in motion is the hashtag. And if you are interested in something like that, you can again pop over to my website, elevateandempowerinc.com, and there is a link to download both the Wellness Travel app and the Elevation Hub app, which is the community of midlife women who are navigating grief and loss. And if you would like to connect with me further personally, or would like to schedule coaching sessions with me, you can also go to my website and schedule a discovery call. All the links are at the website, and the link to the website will be in the captions to this podcast episode. So thank you again for tuning in, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Ciao. If this video brought you comfort or clarity, I would be honored if you'd give it a thumbs up. It really helps more women like us find this space. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe to this growing community of sisterhood. New videos drop every week to support your healing and your rising. Lastly, if you know somebody who could use a little hope today, please feel free to share it with them. You never know whose heart it might reach. Until next time, please be gentle with yourself and know that you're never alone on this journey.